is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Media Mash,
A roundtable of Cowboys insiders
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Steve Dennis.
Hot diggity dog. Welcome to Media Mash on this Wednesday, October 13th, live from the SWBC studio. I am Steve Dennis. So excited that you have joined us. So excited, like everybody else. 4 wins in a row for the Dallas Cowboys. And hot diggity dog. That's the new phrase, I think.
Yeah.
For the level of excitement happening around here. It's an old phrase. You guys are way too young for that. It's back in the 50s, 60s. Maybe you saw it on Laugh-In or...
No, that's the perfect age for me. As a new dad, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, that's how they ended every week.
They'll throw the...
Hot diggity dog song.
Yeah.
Every
sure,
week. Chris knows.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so I'm familiar.
I'm the elder millennial here, and that's even going over my head.
I'm lost.
One day.
Machota's like, is it on social media? Because
I'm looking
I
for it
can't
right
find
now.
it.
Is it trending on Twitter? No.
Nope.
Because if it's not, he doesn't know about
Send
it.
it to you, Jane.
Kids love it, Chris.
I always loved the phrase. It was big on Happy Days in the 70s.
Okay,
by the way,
now it's over my head.
because
A
it was
wholesome
50s
time.
praise.
A wholesome time.
But what does hot diggity dog mean to us? I was amazed. And by the way, joined by Rob Phillips of Dallas Cowboys Media on this Wednesday for Media Mash. Slater Jane, or you know her as Jane Slater, from the NFL Network and other things, podcast and whatnot, joins us this Wednesday. That's John Machota.
What up?
Back again from The Athletic. Happy he's here. It was amazing to me. Cowboys always put out a little video that goes on Twitter, the sounds of the game or whatever, sounds of the sidelines. And Trevon Diggs has actually become an absolute sideshow to the game. I mean, the players, have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
The whole game, they're on the edge of their seat waiting for Diggs to get a shot at an interception. And he had a couple, actually dropped one, the first one. And then caught it out of bounds, and then he did it. I mean, they're all just it is an energy that I don't believe has been around here, and I'll tell you where I saw it last a couple of times in my time here. But it's an incredible energy, is it not? Is it something that is lifting the team beside just being a real fun sideshow?
Oh, no, it's legit. I even... To a certain extent, even though we're in a press box that is behind glass, I feel like his interceptions, as they have gone along these last few weeks, the crowd is just, it gets even louder. It's bigger than just another takeaway. And then even after the game, we didn't get him for very long. I mean, it was probably only like about a minute. But as Jerry was walking from the Cowboys locker room back up to where he was going to go, back up to his suite, we got him for about a minute, and that was one of the first things he said, Steve, was about how there's just something different about it, and it's bigger than just another takeaway, that it does have an uplifting feel for the rest of the team. And so I get that sense on the outside, but to your point, when you see that video and the guys are constantly talking about it, like he says he's going to get one, and then when he doesn't, they're talking about that too. It's bigger than just any other player getting a takeaway right now.
Or Van Der Esch saying, like, if they want to keep trying, fine. Like, I think, yeah, teammates are having fun with it. Like, go ahead, sir. Yeah, keep trying him. Because, I mean, Dak said it. Like, I've learned in practice, don't test him on certain routes. And I think quarterbacks around the league are still figuring that out.
It's the loudest that I've heard AT&T Stadium lately. Now, look, full admission, I was at ACL Festival this weekend, rewatched the game when I got back. But the games that I have been there this year, rightfully so, this group for a long time was the wine and cheese crowd. And a lot of that was the product on the football field. But when you talk about in your time covering the team, what does this remind you of? It reminds me of 2016. You know, the way that everybody was sort of in the trenches together. They had, you know, the big adversity of losing Tony Romo, Kellen Moore, and just feeling like there was a changing of the guard. And while Randy didn't say it today, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, I'm just reading between the lines, and I'm curious if you guys picked up on this too. I asked him, just even on the defensive side of the ball, like, why the quick change? Like, because it's been so dramatic. And he alluded to having the right people, from the coaching staff to to the personnel. And I think that there were not bad actors in there, but bad attitudes for a while. And I think this group is really putting in the work, not only on the football field, but away from practice. The guys are feeding off that. We even heard about it in the offseason when they were up here working out together and how Dak pushed even guys like Tyron and Lyle Collins to come back. And so they're all pushers this year. They're pushing each other towards something great. And it's nice to cover this team again when you're getting that sense. And I think it was Bobby Belt, my producer on NFL Network. He said he saw a video of these guys, because we haven't been in the locker room this year, of them playing the laundry basketball, which is so dumb. But that was, I say so dumb to use that as a reference, because that's when those guys were having fun back in 2016. And it hasn't been fun around here in a while.
I think 2016 is a great comparison because it's also how young Diggs is. It's the youthful energy that Dak and Zeke brought. It just made it fun for us to cover that team, because
think when Zeke would leap over defenders. Remember how many times it was like, how many times can he leap over guys? I felt like those sort of plays sparked the crowd as much as Trevon Diggs is doing it this year.
Yeah, he was jumping into Salvation Army buckets and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I think the other one would be 2018 when they got Amari here. That re-energized the team, and that was kind of the missing link that year. But to have a player that is this dominant right now defensively, at a key position, it just uplifts everybody, I think.
I would go back a little further even, because I think 2016 was a little different because nobody had any idea. It was a scary year when Tony went down in that first preseason game. And everybody's going, oh, my gosh. And now you got two rookies that nobody had any idea what we had a pretty good idea what Zeke would be. But and that thing – but the one.
But did we really know what Micah Parsons was going to be? Did we know how good Dak was going to be coming back? Did we know that Dan Quinn was going to have this sort of effect on the defense? Did we know that they were going to get so close to getting a win on the road over Tampa, getting a win against the Chargers? Those are the things that have really stood out to me this year about this team. It's just how quickly this thing has turned.
Well, not only that, but the fact of if this continues to roll like it's rolling right now, I think we're going to look back to the beginning of the season that when all that's going on, you're also losing Lyle to a suspension. DeMarcus Lawrence is breaking his foot. Multiple key players are going on the COVID list, and it was at that one period for like 2 weeks, it was like, what's going to happen next? I think we end up looking back on that as that might have been kind of a galvanizing thing that they were like, well, we can overcome this. Then we're good to go because other people kept stepping up where in years past that necessarily didn't happen.
The other thing is, too, to your point, Jane, about questions, like we didn't know Diggs was anywhere close to this. He was going to be this good this early. And would he be the best corner in the league at this point?
Yeah, he showed spots last year. But remember, we were kind of talking, it was sort of baptism by fire. Like they had to put him out there, and he was getting exposed at times. But I think the thing that stands out for me, and I don't want to interrupt you, Rob, is these guys want to get better, and they're doing the little things. I mean, even Zeke, my favorite quote from him today was talking about the focus, not just on the mental, but on his body to make up for his show last year. Like, they're just so honest about last year sucked. And maybe we all looked in the mirror and was like, yeah, some of this was coaching. Some of it was COVID, but maybe we aren't doing the little things to ensure success. And I think it's the attention to the little things this year. You know, when you're getting close to greatness and people are like, well, we're just cleaning up the little things. That, to me, is what stands out.
Randy's talking about that, too, how his pursuit of, I need to be more consistent, I need to do this better. And this is a guy who hadn't played a ton of football, but is having a major impact, but he feels like there's still a level that he can get to.
My two examples, if you'll allow me, because, everybody knew Dak. If Dak was a huge story coming into this year, his health, is he going to come back? I think, the two that strike me that sort of came out of nowhere was Romo in 2006 when he replaces Bledsoe as the starter. Mm-hmm. And he just electrified the city. I mean, that game they lost. He then won the next game, his first as a starter, then lost again, but then ripped off 4 straight wins. And just doing it in electrifying fashion. And it's, the joke that's flying around, or not a joke to Jerry, I guess, but the fact that they can't get 7 jerseys in the pro shop because this happened so quick and everybody wants one. Same thing in 2006. because Romo's jersey, nobody even thought to make 9 jerseys before the season. And he just lit it up. And real quick, the second one was Miles Austin.
09.
In 2009.
Yeah.
Because, 2008 was the big collapse year when they were really good. And they started 6-2 or 4-1 or something like that in 08 and then collapsed at the end of the year. 09, Miles Austin comes out of nowhere. Everybody, Ed Werder, blames the 08 season on Terrell Owens, but it was much deeper than that. Romo had a pretty heavy hand in it. But he was gone, and now here's 09, and how are you going to replace that kind of electrifying player in that day in Kansas City where Miles Austin goes for 250 out of nowhere? And then he rips off 145, 139, 147, 120, 5 games in a row. Got him a great contract. Didn't hear much from him since, but
in all those cases, though, and with Trevon Diggs right now, maybe this is just because I'm not originally from Dallas, I believe the Cowboys add a little lighter fluid to that. Because if Trevon Diggs is picking off 6 passes in the first 5 games for the Bengals, for the Cleveland Browns, even if they're rolling, you're going to hear about it a little bit, but it's I feel like there's even more momentum when you start doing stuff like that for the Cowboys, whether it was Romo or Miles Austin, and then it is the 16 team with Dak and Zeke and how it builds momentum. I just think it's on a bigger scale. It's bigger than just in Dallas. It's everywhere.
But it's also the receivers he's picking off. I mean, they haven't played the lightest schedule, and they've played some of the best. That's what I don't want to buy in, much like I don't ever want to buy into my Longhorns, because I always feel like you get too high on the hog, and then
you brought it up.
Something always comes up. But what stands out to me, even as you guys bring up some of these examples, is how selfless this team is. We kind of see it covering it, but to hear all the guys talk about it. And if you'll remember, when some of these guys in years past would get a little bit of accolade or spotlight, it's like the jealous monster would start going through the locker room, right? And I used to hear stories about certain players would Google themselves in between practices. They loved the celebrity of it. These guys, I don't get the sense with some of these guys that
some do.
Kelvin Joseph, who we haven't seen yet.
Who, Machota? Who Googles themselves?
Oh, I mean,
and, look,
you're Micah Parsons,
well, I was
for
gonna
sure.
say, Micah Parsons is out there, but at least he's backing up the play.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But I feel like
all right,
these
show
guys,
of hands. Who in here has Googled themselves?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
See?
But my point is, these guys feel confident, not cocky to me. And from day one, Dak has never played favorites with guys in the locker room. I mean, I think it's very evident, him and Zeke's relationship, but it's an inclusive relationship of others. And I think that's what stands out to me about this group. And even last year with that defense, the thing that I kept hearing was how divided it was from the free agents and Jim Tomsula and Nolan's guys and the other guys. These all feel like, whether they're Dan Quinn's guys or they were originally drafted here guys, they've all bought in together. And I think that's the difference maker this year.
Well, they're being forced to buy in. They're being forced.
How so?
Competition?
Because they're getting young guys like Osa Digizua, who's stepping up and playing well. Micah Parsons stepping up playing well. Trevon Diggs stepping up and playing well. These are all first and second year guys. It's kind of like, to anybody else, if you don't want to get on the train,
well, I agree with
it's
that.
going to keep moving.
I agree
so
with that.
There's enough guys that Dan Quinn has brought in, and then there's enough young guys that I think Dan Quinn has also helped put in the right situations that's built so much momentum that if you want to be a me guy or you want to be upset because someone else is getting the spotlight, the train's going to pass you by. So if you want to be on, get on now.
But these are selfless coaches too, right? Because last year we kept hearing how these guys tried to force guys to play out of position. When something didn't work, kept forcing it. This group tells you without you even prompting them. What I love about Dan Quinn is that if something's not working, we throw it out. It feels very collaborative this year. And my favorite was Randy Gregory today talking about...
Jane's got notes.
Yeah. He was... It's not so much
She's
knowing...
a TV reporter.
It's
we
not
always
so much
have notes.
knowing the place, but it's understanding the why. And I think what frustrated guys last year was they never understood the why.
All right, now hold that thought, because you're getting heavy into where we're going next segment. About
Look at me being selfish,
kind
not
of-
selfless and stealing your topic.
Put a bookmark in that.
Kind of the
page right there.
collection idea of all the good that's happening right now. Oh, hey, finally my headphones may be working. Maybe not. But staying with Diggs real quick, and then we're going to break early so I can get my headphones fixed and make sure my pinky's not bleeding anymore, which we won't explain.
Played through the injury,
But
man.
Diggs is chasing Tom Landry.
I saw that.
He's chasing Tom Landry. He's got 5 games in a row to start a season with an interception, which is tied for the Cowboys record. Don Bishop. Never heard that name before.
Steve, before you go any further, I would just love to watch these interceptions that Tom Landry had and run those videos right next to Trevon Diggs' interceptions. Like I always say, the best thing for Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points in one game is that there's no video of
Dallas
it.
Cowboys running back.
Okay, it was
Let's get the social media
1951.
department on that.
I don't think
1951. I'd love to see these passes.
I don't think any of us need to make fun of 1951. But by the way, 2 others hold the record. Barry Wilburn, never heard of him, 1987, and Brian Russell of Minnesota in 2003.
Which I don't remember.
Don't
that.
remember him. But they have done it. 6 interceptions in 6 games to start a season. I think it's neat that Diggs is going after Landry. That's all.
No, that's cool, man. That is quite a stat.
But what I love about Diggs is he just, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not being cynical enough as a journalist. But I get the sense that it's just that stuff doesn't matter to him so much as just being really good at his craft. Wanting to live up to promises he made to his brother and his dad and, even to his son. I think that's what stands out about me is he is such a likable person.
The way
He's unlike some other shutdown corners in the league who jaw a lot and care about the accolades and he just goes to work and puts on his hard hat. Sean Lee-esque that way in his approach.
The vision we got from Hard Knocks of him and Aiden was the best thing about Hard Knocks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't very good, let's be honest.
It's terrible.
Thing may have jumped the shark. They need to consider that. But
They're adding an NC version, but
oh yeah,
yeah.
But
this
those moments with Aiden was just gold. I mean, that kid is America's favorite kid. I think that's why the nation may be a little caught up in Diggs.
Sure.
I think that most of the nation is talking about Dak and Zeke and Micah and man, how good is Dak? Zeke is back and Diggs is an afterthought a bit. I think the energy may be a little higher in the Metroplex in North Texas than the nation about Diggs, but I could be wrong.
I think John's right. I think that it creates a national buzz because this franchise has so much history, and when Dak has a big game, people have visions of number 8. When it's Zeke going off, they have visions of 22, and people were having visions of Deion doing Deion stuff back in the day. I mean, that's what it's reminding people of. And when he's wearing that jersey doing that, you flash back to 95 when Deion was doing all that kind of stuff here. That's what people.
You know what I kind of love too, Rob?
Yeah.
And this is kind of funny to me is that, post game at the podium, it's generally like, it's always going to be Mike McCarthy and then Dak, and then it's like one other star player. Literally every single week, the other player's been Trevon Diggs. And you just think about it, you're just like, how often is it
Wasn't
a corner?
it Micah to begin with, though? Did he usurp Micah somewhere along the way?
But I think what stands out about Diggs is how transparent and vulnerable he is with information. Sharing that he cried to his brother when Nick Saban asked him to switch positions.
Very odd comment, actually.
And when all I said to him the week before he even went into the press conference room, I said, so what does Daddy say to Aiden when he gets home? And then he offered up the story. Well, Aiden actually wanted me to get a pick 6. And you don't typically get that from guys. And so when he shares those stories with you, and you typically don't get that from guys as they start getting longer in the tooth in the league, they're very one-word answers. He shares with you. And I think I always tell girlfriends, and this is not to talk down to our female listeners, for my friends are like, I just don't get football, or I hate when my husband or boyfriend or significant other wants to watch football. And I'm like, you need to tap into the stories, the guys underneath the helmet. That's why you watch, these 30 for 30s and, these real sports specials, because you understand who these guys are behind the helmets and you start to cheer for them.
Or play fantasy football like my wife did. Now she's a fanatic.
Well, there you go.
But
she throws things across the living room.
Dak's a great example of that.
Exactly.
Because
People love Dak.
People can relate to so much that's happened in Dak's life.
He's very vulnerable.
And that's another example of how candid he was after the game, saying, it was in my head a little bit, the anniversary of the injury, which you're right. Guys aren't always that forthcoming and that vulnerable to the media. They don't want to be.
Especially
that way.
after the game, talking about the cart coming out and all that.
Oh yeah.
And we should talk about this on a later show, but I think a lot of that has to do with the mental conditioning that they go through these days. On Friday, and what's his name? Cody Cody, Chad.
Jory has been doing
Yeah.
a great job with that at USA Today, writing up all that stuff.
Yeah,
Chad
I mean,
Bowling,
it's a new thing, I think, in professional sports, but very necessary. All right, let's take a break here. I forgot to introduce Chris Beam, our fabulous producer, at the beginning of the show. Rookie, do me a favor and come save me from my headphones as we take this break. When we come back, Amari Cooper has gone there. The one place you do not go when the Dallas Cowboys get off to a hot start. Fans know it. The media knows it.
I don't know it.
Big
Tell
time
me on the other
player
side.
doesn't know it. Let's talk about that. Mash it up next.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Media Mash.
Sometimes you got to fight through adversity. The Cowboys have done a pretty good job of that whenever it has come up so far in the 2021 season. Headphones are back. I can hear you guys now. I'm sure you guys were great that segment, but I could barely hear you. And I think the bleeding has finally stopped on my pinky. I came in here and cleaned up for Machota and Rob. I want you guys to have a nice studio and just
appreciate it. Now there's blood everywhere.
He's the guy that just literally pulls himself out of the game every time he gets a ding.
I stayed in the game. I almost passed out because of how much blood I've lost. I think it stopped.
Those paper cuts are
Zeke landed
man.
on a pylon this weekend and is going to be in a hot tub until he gets to New England like a prune. He's playing hurt.
Right.
Step
You
up.
know what? Let's talk about some drama with Zeke, though, now. He was in some pain.
Yeah.
And then, 30 seconds later, he's back on the field and high-stepping into the end zone.
Well, that's because he's fought through it.
That's good drama.
You're over here in the blue medical tent getting your bandage.
When I take this Band-Aid off, I hope the tip to my pinky is there. That's really all I hope. But anyway, all right, let's move on to topic
Proof
number
that
2.
Men can't get sick or injured.
Rob ran upstairs to get a Band-Aid for me, and then you showed up, and you had a whole box of them.
I've never seen a paper cut cause so much commotion.
It's not a paper cut. It's the line of this in the studio right here. Be careful
Imagine
when you wipe
if he had
this.
to give birth to his child.
This is really sharp right here. I'm glad it was my pink. See, I got to play in a golf tournament this weekend.
That's what he actually cares about, folks.
That's going to be a problem.
Nice, just do the elicit the baseball grip that I do. Works just fine, Steve.
All right, let's hear this. Let's all hear this. Everybody loves Amari Cooper around here, I think. Very cerebral player. He's very careful with his thoughts. He's smarter than me, I guarantee that. Here is his comment after the game, and see if you can hear a couple of words that we all know you don't speak in Dallas these days.
It's not about the opponent we playing. It's about like our standard. It's about like us being the best we could possibly be, because our mindset is on a championship. to be a championship, you want to be clean. Like as an offense, our goal should be to score every drive. When you score every drive, how can you lose? And so when we fall short of that, that's when I kind of get like worried a little bit because, when you're on a roll like this, it's just you start thinking about a Super Bowl. That's just the reality of it, and you start to want it more and more and more and more the closer you get, and you just start to worry about the little things more. Like if we get stopped this drive, dang, what if that happens, later in the season? That's just how I be looking at it. Yeah. But we just gotta play a little bit cleaner, and I think we could. That's the only reason I'm talking like this because I really think we could.
There it is. Amari Cooper says, hey, I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking about a Super Bowl. They're 5 games in.
Stop the drama.
5 games
That's
in.
That's what Clarence Hill always says, but I'm going to use that on you. Stop the drama. What was wrong with what he said there?
Nothing, except he said he's thinking about a Super Bowl.
And don't you want your guys thinking about
Absolutely.
A Super Bowl?
Well, Coach McCarthy mmade that clear in the preseason. That's always the mission of coaches and players. But when you start 4-1 with a 4-game winning streak, I don't know if you want, especially in Dallas, if you want your players talking about a Super Bowl. Does anybody else see any bad in this?
No, absolutely not. Well, first of all, you can buy in. Like, you don't have to be scared of it. Don't be scared of it. Embrace it.
He didn't say we're going to win it. He said he's thinking about it.
And Micah Parsons said today that they're climbing a mountain and the Super Bowl is at the top of Mount Everest. And so he's throwing it out there too. That's what they're talking about. They should. Embrace it. To me personally, this is the best team they've had since 14 and 16, and it's different than those teams. In 14, you had Romo and a veteran bunch, but then you also had a defense that was led by, nothing against these guys, but Orlando Scandrick and Jeremy Mincy and Rolando McClain and Barry Church and those guys. This defense is better than that defense. 2016, Dak and Zeke were just puppies at that time. Like, these guys have put in the work to where you should have expectations like that. Don't be scared of it.
Well, there's no question.
And real quick, and here's why I don't have a problem with Amari saying that. Last year, everyone laughed at him when he said, as a receiver group, we could go off for 3,000 total yards. With 4 different quarterbacks, they damn near got close.
Yeah, but nobody cares about that. He's talking about a Super Bowl.
No, but my point is, Amari. What I love about Amari is he's always measured in his temperament, his responses, his thoughtfulness.
All right.
He makes me step my game up.
Let me set something up real quick,
So my point is, he
Rob.
wouldn't say that if he truly wasn't seeing something different.
That's fine. That's fine. All I'm saying is, if there's one place in America that has learned its lesson over and over again, it's why they all hate Stephen A. Smith on ESPN, because he continues to bring it up. Most of the media in this town have learned. Jerry has learned. Most of the fans will not bring it up. Let's just talk about it real quick. 2007 was the last time. For example, right now, this team has scored 170 points. That's the most after 5 games since 2007. That was a 13-3 team that had a first-round bye. That team started 5-1 and then got beat in a playoff game at home. 2008, they started 4-1 and collapsed miserably. 2000. Whole 9. Boy, I got my head on the tournament this weekend. 2009, they started 6-2 and got a playoff win. 2014, they started 6-1. They got a playoff win. 2016, they started 10-1 with Dak and Zeke and didn't get a playoff win. These fast starts are not new around here, but you don't start. I would urge all fans to not fast forward, to enjoy each week as it comes. And the last thing, the expectations should not shoot through the moon.
Can't you do both?
Well, the players can, but it's very unusual for them to say it, which is why, to me, it's unusual.
But he didn't. Here's what I respect about the guys this year, though. We were talking about the mental coach. They are very focused on, it seems like, handling success, handling adversity. If you think about these groups, especially going back to Dak and Zeke, suspensions, the ankle injury, the suicide of his father, Michael Gallup losing his brother to suicide. This group has been through a lot. Losing their strength and conditioning coach last year in the locker room, going through a new, they've been through it. And I think that they're used to adversity, but they're approaching this season, in my opinion, the right way. And again, I keep going, well, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves either, but I just don't have a problem with the confidence, not the cockiness of this group this year.
It doesn't bother me either because it's the context he put it in.
Right.
His context was, he even said, if we make the mistakes we made today against better teams, we're going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to what Jane said about they're chasing improvement, perfection, all that stuff, saying that basically we're not there yet. So the way he said it, I don't have a problem with it at all. And because look, they are one of the teams right now that you look at and say they have a chance. And I think that's all he's saying. That's their expectation. They got a shot. And I think also you mentioned Jerry. I think Jerry every year we try to get Jerry to say it.
He won't.
Camp, and he won't say it because he knows it's
for about 10 years now.
He knows it will explode if so he backs away from that. And so when we hear anybody else on the team say it, it
but
blows
it is
up,
better when it comes from the team and not from Jerry, right?
Yeah.
But wait a minute. See, what I would say about the team is Amari Cooper has no idea of the history around here.
Why should he care?
I disagree.
No, he shouldn't care.
He shouldn't care at all.
That's my point.
But I disagree with that. That guy is a savant of football. He gets it. He's in these halls. He sees the Lombardi trophies and the rings.
And has he been reminded that they haven't sniffed an NFC championship game for 25 years?
Well, my point is I think he respects it enough and he's seeing enough that he's saying, we are thinking about it because of the way we're playing. Like, this guy played at Alabama. It's not like he was at some school that didn't know what success or a run looked like.
True. But there's an expectation
right.
there.
He knows what a winning culture and a winning group looks like. And all he's saying is maybe we have the right ingredients to serve. But to your point, if you put it in the oven and you underbake it or you miss out an ingredient, you're not going to get what you just saw on Pinterest. He's just saying we have the ingredients here.
Really, his point was if we turn the ball over twice in the first 3 drives and come up with 3 points in the first 3 drives against Green Bay, he didn't say these teams, Tampa Bay, LA,
Rams. Yep.
It's a different story. That's what I took from it.
All right.
But you're right. Anytime you toss out that term,
it's just
Super
too
Bowl,
painful.
People are gonna,
all of you out there in Cowboys
drama.
Nation, you have been through the pain. It's too painful to just after four wins to flippantly, not flippantly, but he did throw. I'm thinking about a Super Bowl.
Steve,
it is painful.
It's not painful. It's apathy these days. A lot of fans have apathy as it comes to that.
The Campo years
you.
was apathetic. The Cowboys will never have apathy. They did in the Campo years. And that's why he went and got Bill Parcells to rebuild the roster.
Because a lot of people had high expectations for this team with a brand new coach last year, and then it all went to hell in a handbasket.
All right, here's a quote from McCarthy from Monday. And we're going to talk about Coach McCarthy in our next topic because that's becoming very interesting. But his quote was, quote, "Comparables, hypotheticals, I know it's newsworthy, but until you get to 10 wins, it's all a waste of time."
That's fair.
See, that is exactly right. This team has got to get down the road now what the point I made last week was there was 12 teams 3-1.
Yeah.
There's now 7 teams 4-1 and 1 5-0. It's just way too early.
It's the old Parcells thing, right?
It's another 4-game winning streak. They've had oodles of those.
Yeah.
They've only had 2 playoff wins in 25 years. So my whole point is, and I'm not, it's okay for Amari to do it. I don't think it's okay for fans to soak it up. They've been through it.
Why?
He didn't guarantee a Super Bowl. He didn't say we're going to win.
But he's talking about, I can see us winning a Super Bowl.
Why?
Who
Shouldn't that be the expectation of every team every year?
And Mike, considering.
But if they say it in Jacksonville, how's that going over?
Well, first of all, this isn't Jacksonville. Second of all, these guys aren't idiots. They know not only their team, but they know the landscape of the rest of the league. And he can sit there and say, and his exact quote about the 10 wins is that's what he's typically gone through in his time as a coach, that they don't start talking about until they get to 10 wins. That's fine. Tell your team that. Tell your coaches that. On the outside, we're not idiots. They play in the NFC East. It's a trash bag. They're going to the playoffs. The way that the league is set up, if you win your division, you go to the playoffs. They're winning this division. There's no competition in. They don't even need to get 10 wins.
Agree 100%.
One,
especially
two,
when you start looking
now,
at the
are they going to win a playoff game?
I believe
they've been through this drill.
Right, but I believe now more than ever, the landscape is set up for them to do just
and
that.
they're a little bit more battle tested.
If you look at the rest of the league.
All I'm saying is why worry about it now? Worry about it in 2 months. Why have your
Think with the
premier
end
wide
in- now,
receiver
stop it.
come out and
But
have every...
7 habits of highly effective people. Think with the end in mind.
You're using the word worry. Why does it have to be a worry? Why does it have to be a negative? It
'Cause
can be
he's
a
always
positive.
negative.
I think that all Cowboys fans across the world
Oh, God.
heard that and shuddered just a little.
And they
a little
should.
chill went.
And they should. Why should?
My dad's one of them, and he
What
didn't
it-
say one thing to me, Steve.
Okay. Tell me this. What is there to be scared of right now? What is there? The Packers, like, I know everyone here gets scared about them because of Aaron Rodgers. Like, their defense is terrible.
All right, let me try.
Like,
I hear you, John, but let me try to explain it this way. We all have college allegiances. You're going through a tough time right now.
Am I, though? I'm
talk
not.
about
I went
being
to ACL. I
apathetic.
skipped
You've
it.
given up on them. But the point is, you hate it when the rest of the country knows the truth about you. You hate it when, oh man, we're good, and then you don't do anything with that over and over and over again. I'm sorry, but the Cowboys are that team in the NFL. They're right there with Detroit and who else? Last time they've been to Arizona?
Washington.
No, Arizona's been there.
Washington.
Washington. So my whole point is it's fine. We love talking about it.
But you know
I
what's
just
different?
think
You
it's
know
a
what's
bit
different?
of a bugaboo in Dallas for the media and fans 5 games into the season to fast forward to the Super Bowl.
Because you know what stands out to me? They're finally doing things a little different. You know, the definition of insanity is banging your head in the wall, doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results. I finally feel, they finally made a change at head coach when they went out and got Mike McCarthy with skins on the wall. They went and got you a defensive coordinator who'd been to a Super Bowl. They went and started getting best players available as opposed to players that fit their scheme. Mm-hmm. They decided to make a move mid-season with a guy that was kind of a friend of a lot of players in that locker room and moved on from him. They would never have done that in the past. When they moved on from Tony Romo, I never thought that happened, or Des Bryant for that matter. Didn't even go to him and say, take a pay cut. So they're making decisions that I didn't see them make in years before.
I guess they did that with T.O., though.
Yeah, but it says to me that...
They cut DeMarcus Ware.
Well, and but listen, even when they say that they've got guys self-scouting now, like all these guys like Randy Gregory say, why self-scout? But to have that as a homework assignment for even Zeke, like what are some of the things that you're doing that in years past were like, well, that offense is so predictable. They're trying to figure out ways to be less predictable. So to me... They're doing things differently, so I don't think we should hold them to the same standards of teams and expectations we've had in the past, because we're actually seeing some change here.
See, I actually love Amari saying it. I'm just
You're
giving
just the
that
contrarian.
point of view. I'm just giving the point of view. I think so. You're all in favor. I did. I'm just giving the other point of view where some people are going, "Oh, really?"
Well, how do you think
so? Stephen A. has another chance to go on TV.
Why
when
would
we
you
don't
even care?
Oh,
about
they
that?
do care.
I mean,
they do
But
care.
he didn't promise
hurts.
anything.
It hurts.
It's WWE wrestling. It's all scripted. It doesn't matter.
He set expectations, but he didn't make promises. There's a difference.
And also, I think I'd have an issue with it, Steve, if covering this team, and there's certainly been plenty of teams that the Cowboys have had that we've known, where guys might not say Super Bowl, but they'll talk about maybe winning or what they are, and you just are kind of like, oh, guys, come on. We know that this isn't the team. This is the team.
They know they're good. They know they're good. Are you saying the fans like it or don't like it?
I think there was a little shudder. I think they went,
I don't think it even
wait
registered.
a minute.
I don't either. I don't like. You're on Twitter more than anybody. Like I haven't seen a big buzz about it.
No,
you know,
I don't think there's a buzz about it.
I do think there are fans that are.
Did you come off the golf course with this topic? How much did you have to drink today?
No, I did not play today. Did you notice it was a bad day? I don't play on Wednesdays.
I think fans are afraid of a jinx. I think at this point they are.
That's fair.
Especially after last year.
But he didn't promise.
But he didn't. But if there is a reaction to it, maybe it's that. But I don't see any problem with it, honestly, because of the context of it.
Well, I'll just give you a couple of examples. Have you heard?
He is not done.
Have you heard anybody with Tampa Bay talking about the Super Bowl right now? They just won one. Have you heard anybody from their place talking about a Super Bowl? Have you heard anybody in Arizona who's 5-0? Has Kyler Murray or any player there brought up Super Bowl.
Change their uniforms and put them in Cowboys uniforms, and you'd hear a lot more of that stuff.
Exactly.
I don't know anything that. What is anybody saying in Arizona?
Brady went to Tampa
so you think
Bay
they're saying it? And
maybe,
we
who
just
knows?
don't
But
hear?
you don't think
They're
that
in
Tom
Arizona.
Brady, when he called up Antonio Brown and Gronk, was like, "We're going to win a Super Bowl together"? You think he was just like, "Let's just go play. Let's go have fun in Tampa Bay"?
Oh, I think that's Brady's mentality. Hey, let's just go a week at a time, and we'll worry about that
He
stuff
says
later.
we're going to win a Super Bowl.
No, I'm not sure.
100%. He would not. He would not step
1,000%.
out one game out there anymore at his age if he wasn't trying to still win Super Bowls.
He's
That's
not out
all
there
he
just
cares
bullying.
about.
I understand what he's trying to do. I don't think when Brady got to Tampa, he mentioned the Super Bowl before the
disagree.
season.
I think he had
Publicly, maybe
expectations.
not. Behind the scenes,
1,000%.
100%.
Now, I did. I told Kalishaw he was going to win the damn Super Bowl.
If anybody can talk about it, it's him. To have the clout to do it, it's him. But John's right. Like you won't hear about it. But we didn't hear about this nationally either because of the way he said it. If he came out and said this team's going to the Super Bowl, it would have been splashed on
100%.
SportsCenter.
True.
So that's
He just literally talked about they've got the makings of a team that could.
To be determined.
And I agree with that.
It's way too early for that. It is
way too early.
And that's what Coach McCarthy, who we're going to talk about next, I love the exchange with Archer on Monday, by the way, where Archer asked him if he looks ahead to pitfalls or is he like, woo, riding high right now? And he answered it really awkward. You guys all heard it. And he said, I was waiting for the joke. Yeah. That's my job. I look for the pitfalls. I'm already looking to the bye week. He's not thinking Super Bowl, although
he is.
That was his message to the team to start the season.
He didn't take this job to try to we're going to coach him up, and I hope the kids play hard.
He wouldn't
came here to
have
win a
come
Super
back
Bowl.
after last year and all the headaches with this job. I mean, Bill Parcells didn't last very long in Dallas.
It's what they all want. Dak wants it. Dak talks about championships.
So did Mike McCarthy on Hard Knocks. It was the very first episode. He made it very clear.
And last year, too.
The only point I'm making is when you win 4 games in a row and you got a little something going, you don't jump from that to, woo, we're going to be awesome in February.
Well,
I think you just kind of keep letting it happen and go week to week. And as McCarthy says, you get to 10, you get late in the season, then you start going, oh, man, who's going to beat them?
One of the reasons why they're saying
wasn't it easy for us to identify Dak as being very special early on when people are like, well, let's not get too high on Dak? Dak has proved a lot of people wrong.
He went through some highs and lows. Let's not forget that. I mean, from his rookie year to whenever you want. I mean, he wasn't his rookie year. He was managed very well by the coaching staff and performed very well.
But to come back from that injury last year and to be playing the way that he does, my point is,
awesome.
My point is these guys really believe in. And I think some of it goes to the mental coach, but some of these guys are just this way, and I appreciate it because I'm the same. You have to manifest success. What comes out of your mouth comes into your life. And I believe that those guys really subscribe to that. So what's wrong with believing that?
I hear you. Back to the golf course never works for me.
Too bad he didn't whisper it in the locker room. Too bad he said it on a hot mic, Steve, because you're crucifying him.
The other reason why he'll say something like that.
I just know there is a mentality out there. Ooh, too soon.
But there's not
too soon.
But you've covered Cowboys teams that you referenced in the past 20 years. That I'm reading between the lines. There's some cockiness there at times when they would.
They would always get carried away. Absolutely, always get carried away with winning streaks.
I'm with Jane.
Starts.
I'm with Jane though. I don't sense cockiness with this team. This team knows it's good,
and they also know they haven't played their best ball yet.
And they can't wait to prove it every week.
They know they have a lot of work to do.
And you're right; they're not afraid of anything, which is big. All right, moving on here. We're going to take our final break here from the SWBC studio on Media Mash with Rob Phillips, Slater, Jane, Machota. A few weeks ago on this here program, Slater Jane wondered with 2 great coordinators here. I wonder what McCarthy actually does. Did I quote you properly?
I just said I didn't know, and this week a lot of us started asking those questions, and we got answers. So we'll share.
We're going to do that next here on Media Mash.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to Media Mash.
Name of the show is Media Mash. Every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, every Thursday at 4 o'clock. Beat writers are the stars of this show, those that cover every move the Cowboys make. I used to be one of those a few moons ago. Rob Phillips with Cowboys Media. Slater Jane Slater from the NFL Network, John Machota from The Athletic. They all do their thing day in and day out. I got to tell you, people always ask me, do I miss, no matter how slow it got at times, when you're always there and you're waiting and then going here and then, yes, I miss it. It's one of the greatest things to cover in the world. And it can be a headache, and it can be slow, and then all of a sudden it's fast, and you can't miss a thing. I miss it every day.
I don't know how people do it with families, but not having a family and having a life that is just dedicated to just doing this. I can tell you right now, when they're winning and there's that energy, social media, just when you see people and just people are talking about it all the time,
makes a difference.
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know. It's funny. I actually got an opportunity to go cover Florida this offseason before I came back to Dallas this year, just to switch it up.
The Florida Gators?
No, for the NFL she's talking
Yeah,
about.
for the NFL.
Yeah.
I was offered
the Florida teams.
I was offered
moving to Florida,
Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville.
That had to be tough for you to turn down. All that.
You know, I love
sunshine
Miami.
down
I tried to get
there.
to Miami for years. But I'm from here. I grew up, obviously, in the era when the Dallas Cowboys were winning all the Super Bowls. I went to the parades. I watched Sundays Fox with my dad. It's how I got into this business. And I'm with John. I mean, I was a former news reporter, as you know, and I get as much news around here as I ever got covering the local beat. And because I get to cover other teams, I tell everybody it's just different. And the only show that really kind of drove that home for me wasn't Hard Knocks, but if you watch All or Nothing, that to me gave you a bigger sense of this team. I always tell people, go watch that because that really got you. But you almost, for me at least, growing up here and having so many friends and family that are Cowboys fans, it feels like a responsibility, not just a job, to alalways be on it.
And
I feel like I owe them.
Well, this one
news.
here left it and came back.
Yeah, I got bored with a real job.
Yeah,
I didn't like the 9 to 5 stuff. And now I do have a family, and it is, it's a hard thing to cover. But like in our job, I mean, I'm in house, but our job is to be objective, and you guys are too. But it's more fun to cover a good team
for sure.
And last year was last year was terrible. I mean, the restrictions and just the way life was on top of a team that was bad, and largely because of a lot of injuries. This is just more fun.
Well,
to be honest,
I want to make this comment to all the fans out there, and some of you, I don't know, most of you love Jerry Jones, I assume, but some of you, I've heard some that aren't quite so loving toward him. The thing about the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry makes sure of it, everything matters. It just matters. And when Jerry is no longer, I hope it's 30 more years, I mean, you have no idea how much you're going to miss that man as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. It is the big room, as Bill Parcells said when he came here, and there's nothing else like it. I had to cover the Rangers and the Mavericks and the Stars and everything else in my job, but when the Cowboy season ended, I was so empty for a month.
I've told Jane before, we've had this conversation, that if I went and took a job on another beat with The Athletic, let's say I was like, I really want to live in California, whatever, and I left and the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, I'd have the worst FOMO ever. My God, I'm missing out on this.
On my tombstone, Jane Slater's biggest regret in life will be not being able to go to Jerry Jones' Hall of Fame party. I was so mad at my network for not allowing me that assignment. But it's the energy. It's Jerry's energy, to your point. And I was thinking about that when he got really choked up at Cowboys training camp. And I don't want to get choked up because people are like, oh, she's so emotional and unobjective.
I got choked up watching it at home. I really did.
But it's not fake, and that's why I try to explain it. My grandmother was a big Cowboys fan and one of Jerry's biggest critics. I mean, if the weather was bad, it was Jerry's fault. And what I tell people is this guy really could be doing anything at this point in his life, and he chooses to be here. And what always stands out to me about Jerry is unprompted, he will come up to you and connect in a way that a lot of people don't connect. And I'm always fascinated, not like I expect him to be losing his facilities at a certain age or his faculties, but he's just so with it and he cares so much about this. And he can go down and give you very detailed reports about the personnel that I'm telling you, covering other teams, other owners can't.
Don't have a clue. All right, let's make the segue to the greatness of Mike McCarthy. How'd that segue go? We've wondered. McCarthy's new on the scene. Last year was so funky and so bad, and COVID had a heavy hand in it. He's trying to get his footing as head coach of the Cowboys in this 4-1 start, in the 4-game winning streak, and how good this team looks. It's going to be hard for him because the offensive coordinator is awesome. Everybody's talking about him. No matter where you go, oh, that kid is the best play caller, blah, blah, blah. Dan Quinn takes that mess from last year, flips, 43 new players? No, I think that's since Garrett left. 43. They've switched out the roster, especially defensively. And Dan Quinn is working magic with it. So where does that leave McCarthy? And we were going to discuss it last week. 2 weeks ago is when you were on, Jane, and you quite honestly just said, with these coordinators, sometimes I wonder what McCarthy does. And it was a great question because he's a walk-around head coach who's won a Super Bowl. He doesn't call the plays anymore. He's the one that wanted Kellen to continue that, which we learned for sure this week, didn't we? Somewhere where that came out that he's the one that told Jerry, no, let's let Kellen keep that relationship with Dak and call the plays.
When he took the job, he told
did he
us
say that?
Yeah, Jerry's been saying it all along.
Yeah.
Okay. I missed that. I
maybe it's because you don't believe it.
I thought it was kind of mysterious.
I think there's a lot of people, even with that being said, still don't believe it.
Maybe I just didn't even hear it.
There you go.
when he said it. But I'm going to throw this out real quick, and then we're going to discuss. I think there's two fronts where what does McCarthy do? And why? And I hear it everywhere I go. People don't want to give him credit. They say things like, boy, the only thing that's going to hold this team back is the head coach because of a couple of decisions in the first 5 games. You guys have probably heard all that too. I think that, and you said that some questions have been asked here lately. Real quick, and then I want to hear from you guys. I love Dan Quinn's quote on Monday when he said, one of McCarthy's superpowers. Did we know McCarthy had superpowers? Dan Quinn said, quote, one of McCarthy's superpowers, he doesn't ride the wave. He keeps it consistent, and it's always about winning football. He called him a rock-solid, straightforward leader. Jerry on the radio this week talked about his details. See, this is a credit to McCarthy, in my opinion. He doesn't blow his own horn. He's won a Super Bowl. I don't think he's bothered by all the attention Kellen and Quinn are getting because they're his coordinators. And the other thing are the turnovers. And it's in the paper today, which is amazing. Only Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll have been better since the last 52 seasons in turnover margin. His 15 years, he's plus 107. And we're wondering where all these turnovers are coming from. You wrote about it in your 3 and Out today. Yesterday.
Yeah. Some of that is because he and I wrote about it. He had an elite quarterback, 2 elite quarterbacks that didn't turn it over much, but they forced a lot of turnovers in Green Bay. It's a mentality, and he's had 2 defensive coordinators here in the last 2 years, and they're still able to get it. They weren't forcing takeaways until he got here. I mean, over and over again, we kept talking about it. It's a play style that he's
and real quick,
he says play style all the time.
What you wrote was 9 straight games with a turnover, which is the longest streak in the NFL. They're averaging 2.7 a game since then. And that goes back to last year when he was the head coach, and Quinn wasn't even here. But I think the details are more interesting to me than the turnovers. But there's 2 things that he's doing, Jane. 2 things. What do you say?
I've got to tell you the 2 things that he's doing?
No. Those are 2 things.
Has he won you over?
On the table.
Has Steve won you over?
So what I would
Has
say...
Has McCarthy won you over?
What I would say, and I've cushioned this even in my conversations with the players. Last year, there was a feeling in the locker room that he wasn't around or as available as much. And one could argue there was a lot of stuff on his plate. He had just moved here from Green Bay, barely got to meet his players because of COVID. It was my understanding, there were some issues with internet at his house as he was trying to get this done, and you're trying to Zoom with these players and connect. And it's hard to, I think, form those bonds with guys. And then you see him writing so hard for 2 defensive coaches that were so bad, and then you brought in some free agents that didn't gel with the locker room. In other words, did you really know your personnel well enough to bring in certain people into the group? So I asked the players, what are we missing this year? What do we not know about him? Because, to be fair, other than seeing him at Combine and a couple of exchanges, I don't know Mike McCarthy that well. So I just don't know what he does. But I think when the players bring out the fact that how engaged he is, how he believes in them, I don't feel like he ever throws his players under the bus. He does seem like he's really defensive of some of those guys. I can only go off of what we're seeing. And he's obviously done enough in year 2 that you've got a locker room that's buying in so much. Now, you could argue, are they doing that in spite of him because Dak is back and maybe you're having more success? I don't know.
All right, Machota, you got a minute. Go.
I agree with a lot of what Jane said there. I also think that he does deserve credit for keeping it even keel, like Dan Quinn said. And that's great right now because things are going well. The issues you run into is that also why it was such an issue last year? Or is that why because he needed to step in and do a little bit more and didn't? So while he gets critique for that, when it's going well, he deserves credit for when it's going well because he is the guy at the end of the day that is leading this team. And there's something to be said for somebody that isn't kind of like, I need the credit. I need to be the one that everyone. He seems to be cool with, hey, if you want to credit Dan Quinn, you want to credit Kellen, Dak, that's fine. Roll with it. I've been through this before. I know how to guide this ship. Believe me. You don't have to believe in me. I don't need to sell to you. I'm just going to do it with my actions.
And that may be what's different about this team and what Amari's talking about. Wade Phillips didn't have it. Didn't have it as a leader. Jason Garrett, make whatever opinion you want. McCarthy's proven that he's had it, and that makes a huge difference. We got to go. I love these 2 messages. His message this week to the team: we're not short of production, but our efficiency needs to be better. I love that. He's got his nose to the grindstone. The other one: I love where we are, but I'm more excited about where we can go. Proper attitude. I think McCarthy deserves some credit. All right.
I'm giving it to him.
Thanks for letting me talk Cowboys with you guys. The pinky, the headphones, I'll be better tomorrow.
You'll be okay.
Okay? I'll be better tomorrow. I apologize for that.
Toughen up, Buttercup.
Slater Jane is back with us tomorrow. And chill, Clarence E. Hill Jr. joins us. Thanks, rookie. Chris Beam for being him. We're going to talk to you at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Goodbye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?